Y'all, I was in the stadium. I can confirm he is as big as listed. Jink, you might have played against him this year. I don't recall. But y'all know just the size DK Metcalf is at that speed. But Malcolm Jenkins, how impressive was DK's 100-meter dash?
I mean, it was very impressive, and I'll let you go into the body mechanics of being as big and tall as he is, be able to move that fast. And I'll just go off of personal experience. Somebody who's a 400 and 200 runner in high school and ran on the 4x1 at Ohio State a couple years and really found myself recently like, okay, I'm going to get back on the track. My daughter's running track. I'm going to get back into it. I've been recently running a couple 150s, some 200s. And I ain't got it. Like, I don't got it. So to see him run 10.3 right now, and I'm a prideful guy, that is something that is mind-blowing. And then you put, we saw what it was on the football field last year when he walked somebody down and we were just, mind-blown how fast he was, how big. But to see this out on the track amongst these other track and field athletes who train, their entire lives for these kind of moments, it's special. And, it's definitely something that we can't ignore. It's a special moment for sure.
Jink, let me ask you this, though, because we get the track stuff. That's cool and all. But a 13-year NFL defensive back who's won 2 Super Bowls is who I'm speaking to. When you watch that and now you see DK Metcalf reach top speed, is that in your mind, if you have to line up against the Seahawks this year, how does just that clip, that 100-meter dash, how does that subconsciously or consciously impact how you would guard DK Metcalf?
Well, I don't think we needed to see this track meet to know that DJ Metcalf is a guy that you probably should back up maybe a yard or two off of if you're playing off. Like, my coach told me ability aligned, right? So if this guy runs 10.3 and you run 10.7, you give yourself another 2, 3, maybe 5 yards of cushion if you need be. But I think we already know what DK brings to the table and his size, speed, ability to go up and get the ball. It's just, he's one of those generational athletes that we're watching as a young guy.
All right, Acho, you have the high school record, not in track, but in field. You threw the discus. Actually, you have the record in shot put. I have the record in discus. Anyway, I won't brag. I just did. Sam, how impressive was DK Metcalf's 100-meter time?
I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. So, first of all, DK ran a 4.33 at the combine at 6'3", 228. So that in and of itself is impressive, number one. Number two, he's not the fastest guy in the NFL. And so what I saw is 2 things. Number one, let's say you get a guy like John Ross or Chris Johnson in his prime out there running. It may be a different kind of story. You may not be 15th, you may be top 5. But then I think what really stood out to me the most was seeing just how fast those track athletes actually are. I mean, there was a different kind of speed. They took it to a different kind of level. And DK was running, as we've talked about. But it seemed like they got faster, and they slowed down even slower. That's what blew me away the most.
What was interesting to me, actually, y'all, is not at all what DK Metcalf did on the track. I showed y'all, if y'all haven't seen on social, I was there. It was a limited track meet. They weren't allowing any fans, but your boy had the plug somehow, some way. So I'm in the stadium, and I see DK warming up the day before, and I'm sitting there looking at him warming up. I'm looking at the other dudes warm up. I'm like, okay, we'll see if he even actually runs. Then yesterday, Jink, I'm watching, he goes 10.37. I thought he was going to run somewhere in like the mid-10.5s. But I go up to DK Metcalf afterwards, and I'm like, hey, bro, what you even do this for? That's what I asked him. I said, and I said it under my breath. I didn't want everybody to hear the conversation. I said, what you even do this for? He said, myself, because everybody else is scared to. And I was like, drop the mic then, DK. Like, Jink, you hit the nail on the head, big dog. So many football dudes talk about being fast and talk about track speed and talk about, they the fastest on their team. DK said, I'm not even worried about being the fastest football player. Let me go out there and run against legitimized Olympic medalists in relays. Let me run against men that are trying to represent the country as a sprinter. So more than anything, that told me about his mindset and his mindset of being a killer. That to me was like the most impressive aspect of it all.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see the heart of a champion in a compete or somebody who is ready to compete, right? A lot of us will talk trash. We might even throw some bets, some money out there to see, 40 dashes to settle some pride. But no, this is somebody who's like, I just want to compete, against whoever the fastest ones are. Forget these guys in the league. I'm going to go actually put myself out there. Didn't win anything, but we at least got to see that. It's impressive, and he can hold his own against some of them. But I think, when you see athletes doing other sports like that, and we've seen it from some greats, the Jordans and Deons and all that, but it's just it's their desire to compete, no matter what it is, right? They want to go out against the best and put themselves out there just to see, just because. And I ran track in college the same way. I realized that track was not in my future. I better stick to my day job with football. But I think I love to see athletes doing that, taking themselves out of their own arena and going to compete, in just sports in general.
Jink, let me ask you this follow-up. I need your expertise. If you're that big as DK is and you're that fast, what would limit DK Metcalf from truly being a generational great at the receiver position? Is there anything based on what you've seen? You've guarded receivers for years upon years.
Yeah, I think any receiver with attributes that are just God-given, that are off the charts, they're super, super fast, really tall. If they only rely on those things for their entire career, eventually the league catches up on you, right? So when you have those things and you're still developing your game, you're still working on your hands, you're still working on your route running, your understanding of coverage and zone and man, your press, all of those things. If you're continuing to get better and you're as fast and as big as you are, that's when you become unstoppable. Those are the Calvin Johnson, S type players that we've seen in this league.
Now, I enjoyed watching DK go out there and run against all these 100-meter guys. I truly did. But then I thought, is it almost disrespectful to track and field that you chase one dude down in a whole different sport, and now you think you're good enough to come out here and run with us? I draw the equivalent of, imagine you get into a fight during a hockey match, and all of a sudden you whoop some dude and you want to go step into a boxing ring. I didn't really know how I felt about watching DK before I did it, and it was amazing. I didn't know how I felt about seeing athletes go into other sports based on one viral or super viral moment. So, Sam, how you feel about athletes doing other sports?
Well, if it's based off of hunger, then I have no issue at all with an athlete playing another sport. Mind you, no one really heard about DK training and competing for this track meet until about a week or two ago. He wasn't publicizing it. He wasn't flaunting it. He said, hey, I just want to go and get better. I want to train with the best. And you know what? This track speed is going to help me be better at football. I remember even being back in high school, a lot of high schoolers might be watching this or playing different sports. So many people want to focus on one sport. It's not about one sport. Many guys in the NFL played football, basketball, baseball, track and field. So many different sports help you become better. But I will say this, because there are some people that say, I'm going to go box, or I could play basketball too. There's that thought process, but it can't be based on pride. And so what I've seen is that DK wants to be great. Heart of a lion, heart of a champion. He just wants to get better. He's training in the offseason. He just wants to be better. And that's what I've seen him do in this track meet.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he was following the trend and trying to become a boxer, this would be a whole different conversation. Right? There's a trend. Guys want to get in the ring and all this stuff, but I think we've seen DK run fast before, and so him doing track is in line with what we've already seen his skill set to be. He's a competitor, and again, he wasn't last place, right? If he went out there and got smoked by everybody, it would be disrespectful for the track. But there's clearly a place for him because he was able to, he didn't win, obviously, but he was in the running, still competed at a high level and gave himself a chance. So I, for one, enjoy watching it.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, it was a win for everybody. DK, 1037 at that size, incredibly impressive. Shined a light on the track and field world, but at the end of the day, they still showed that there is a difference between track speed and football speed. But 6'3", 240, 6'3", 230, that speed is still lethal.